What's up, everybody? We got the first TV spot for James Gunn's Superman, and the internet is going absolutely insane about it. I'm gonna talk about what I like and what I don't like.
Brother,
and how to fix it. So let's dive into it. But before we get started, don't forget to smash that like button, comment below, and subscribe for more content like this. We kick things off with Superman laying in the snow, calling for Crypto the dog. If we compare this TV spot to the trailer, we can see the blood that was pooled around Superman's mouth has been digitally removed. It's understandable because it's a TV spot and ads have to follow different rules than trailers online. Next, we get a new shot of Lex Luthor's plane in the Arctic. We can assume that he's there to find Superman's Fortress of Solitude. We see Lex and Ultraman stepping off the plane. This may look familiar because it's similar to the shot from the IMAX trailer where Lex, Ultraman, and the engineer are walking into the Fortress of Solitude. Lex Luthor is wearing the same winter coat and sunglasses, and Ultraman is on his right side. I think we can safely assume that the engineer is also on that plane. So it looks like this new scene happens before the shot from the IMAX trailer. Next, there's an extended shot of Superman flying through the air, which we first saw in the trailer preview. This time though, we get to see Superman doing a barrel roll, and we get a good look at his face. This shot has gone viral because of how David Cornsweet's eyes and face look in this scene. Some people think it looks fine, while others think it looks off. But this isn't the first time DC's had issues with Superman's face. In Justice League, Superman got a CGI makeover, leaving him with an odd-looking rubbery face due to the whole mustache situation with Henry Cavill. So why the backlash with Gunn's Superman? Well, aside from the usual haters who were just looking for any reason to criticize this movie, there is something that looks off with David Cornsweet's face in this scene. But this time, CGI is not to blame. A user messaged James Gunn on Threads saying, "Looks dope, great camera angle of Superman flying, except there's something with his face that looks a little off. I know there's plenty of time to refine the CG." Gunn responded saying, "There's absolutely zero CG in his face. People's faces can look different when you put a wide-angle lens close up. The background play in Slavbard is 100% real, as is David." Well, that's only partially correct. Even though that's really David Cornsweet in that shot and the background is also real, it doesn't mean there isn't some serious image manipulation going on here. How an actor actually appears on screen totally depends on the type of lens that's being used. Gunn mentions the lens, but he doesn't say why he used it. Gunn and other directors have begun experimenting lately, shooting scenes using a variety of wide-angle camera lenses. And the reason is, these lenses have a small focal length, but generate wide images, which means you can capture the foreground and background of an image, but it also can cause it to distort the perspective of objects close to the camera, like an actor's face. You've seen this filming technique before. Gunn has used it in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 for the flying scenes with Adam Warlock. Matt Reeves also used it in The Batman when Batman jumps off the roof of Gotham PD, and director Jaume Collet-Serra used a wide-angle lens to depict Black Adam going supersonic. The image distortion here is clearly intentional, and when done right, it can give a viewer the feeling of being along for the ride. But I'm not a huge fan of it, and here's why. It forces a perspective that creates a sort of bobblehead effect, making the person in focus appear to have a really big head and a super round chest. I get what Gunn is trying to do, especially with the use of real drone footage to depict Superman flying, like they did in Top Gun Maverick, but I don't think this works for a Superman movie. So how do you fix it? One way to make this scene look more realistic, like Gunn intended, is to reshoot it with a standard lens, and have Cornsweet emote more emotion in his face. This will go a long way. That would require reshoots, I know, but this will get rid of that relatively small focal length, resulting in a more normal film perspective and facial expressions that we're used to seeing. But there's another reason why this flying scene doesn't feel real. As moviegoers, we're used to seeing Superman flying through the air. But normally, when our eyes track a fast-moving object, it appears blurry. It's called motion blur. And even though it makes objects more difficult to see, it helps to convey the feeling of movement. But if an object remains clear despite its speed, it comes off as being strange or unreal to our eyes. That's why filmmakers often add digital motion blur to CGI action scenes to make them appear more real. While there is some motion blur here, it's counterbalanced by the wide-angle perspective that keeps Superman's face in focus, while the background remains blurry. So the easiest way to fix this is to add more motion blur. A perfect example of getting motion blur right is the plane scene in Superman Returns. It's probably the best Superman aerial maneuver scene in terms of realism, and it's definitely one of my favorite scenes. Now, I don't just want to talk about the negatives of this Superman flying scene. There are some positives. I like that James Gunn is trying to show more close-up shots of Superman flying and doing it in a creative way. We see his hair and cape blowing in the wind with the snow and ice interacting with his body, which is a nice change since in previous films his hair hardly ever moved and we didn't see this level of detail. One of the issues I had with Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Justice League is that Henry Cavill was often replaced by a CG Superman for Takeoff, and we mostly saw him flying from a distance. So I appreciate that Gunn is trying to make the flying in this movie feel more realistic and believable. And with some changes, I think this scene can look a lot better. But tell me, what do you think about this new TV spot? Do you like the flying scene and think it looks good as it is? Or do you dislike it and think James Gunn should fix it? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below because I really want to know what you think. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the Cinema Maverick channel for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.